Hey guys, it's Chris, and we're back with video number 3 in the series of the Summer Vibes card making workshop. So this one, I am going to color the images that we cut out before. So we stamped them in the last video when we did our cutouts, and I'm just going to shoot you down, and I just want to talk about a few things about um, these images. As I said before, I switched them up and okay, the white is not going to be good underneath there. I'm just going to put some colored paper under there so it's a little bit easier to see. Um, in the workshop, they use the watercolors to paint these little images. And like I said, I chose to use my my tri-blend markers. But if you had shin hands were our old markers. So if you have those, you're welcome to use those. If you have something else you'd like to use, go ahead. So some of the things I could suggest would be watercolor pencil crayons are super fun to color with. If you want a watercolor, go for it, have fun with it. You could even probably use some of our shimmer brushes just to paint with. You could also use your water brush and ink to color in the images. So we're going to walk through how I colored them, but I just wanted to show you something first. So you can see I've got these die cut images set up here. They're to go into my piles for our cards. But as I was cutting, I thought maybe I should show this. So I have the die cutting machine that Close to My Heart offers as a hostess reward. Um, but so it's got a nice extended plate on it. So when obviously I don't want to sit here and crank constantly all day long. So when I'm cutting out a lot of images, like 8 of each of these things, you want to take advantage of all the space on your plate. So I've cut down some of the pieces so that they're a little bit smaller, so I could die cut multiple images all at the same time. And you'll notice too that there's just a little piece of washi tape on top of this, and that's because this isn't a magnetic plate. And so sometimes they shift a little bit. So if you just put a little tiny piece of washi tape on it, then they kind of don't move and stay in place. You just get a slightly cleaner cut. So then when you run this through your machine, I'm going to get 3 cuts just for one pass. So I just thought I would show you that super quickly. Just a little tip, a little bonus tip there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I colored the images. Feel free, like I said, to change it up. So I've colored one set already because I'm going to show you how I got my sparkle onto my card. So for example, here you can see that the snow cone actually looks like icy, like a snow cone. So we're going to do that, but I needed my ink to dry. So I colored this set ahead of time. But we're going to color one of each of these things now. So we'll go through them in order that they appear on the cards. So I took my color inspiration though from the directions. So like I said, I used the tri-blend markers and not very many. So I kind of picked my palette and then worked within those colors. So the colors that I used are orange, dull green, ice blue, pale pink, dark red, and golden brown. So we're going to color, and I just did super simple coloring, nothing crazy fancy, because they're colorful already. So I don't think you really need to go crazy overboard. So for the watermelon piece, I used the dark red and the dull green. So I just took the light. So the tri-blend markers have 3 different intensities of color. So it makes it super easy to color and shade all with just one marker. So you have a light, a medium, and a dark. And so you also get lots of different colors along the way too, just by mixing them together. So I'm just going to take the lightest green, and then I'm just going to just slightly color just right close to the very edge with my medium dull green, okay? And that's all the coloring I did in the green. And then with the dark red, I'll put it up like this so you can actually see what which color I'm using. So I just have very quickly colored in my image. I need to put the ones up top that are dry so we don't get mixed up. So I didn't do, like I said, crazy coloring with these. I just kept it really kind of simple and bright. Okay, so I just used, like I said, the lightest color. And then I went in with my medium, and while it's still wet, I'm just going to add a little bit of darker color just close to the rime down here. Okay, and that's really all I did for the watermelon. So the watermelon is done. So you would just repeat that for as many times as watermelons that you have for the cards. Okay, so then the snow cone. So for the snow cone, I used the gold brown and I used the orange. So on the cone part, I used the light color and I just colored in very quickly the white parts of the cone to make it look more like an ice cream cone. And like I said, I did not do anything crazy fancy. Anybody could do this. Okay, and then with the medium tone, I just shaded just very, very lightly just on the one edge. That's all. And that's it for the gold brown. And then the orange is so nice and bright. So I just took the orange, colored all of the snow cone, and I'll just add a little bit of shadow to give a little more depth with the medium. I just tried to pick the markers that I felt best matched the color palette that went with the paper, that kind of all went together. And then, like I said, I did take inspiration from the original cards. Okay, so then I'm just gonna, while it's still wet, add a little bit of the medium just on the one side. There we go. And that's all I did for the snow cone. Okay. Now we have the ice cream cone. So again, I used the gold brown. I used the orange again, and this time I added pale pink just to make the ice cream two-tone. So again, same thing with ice cream cone. I just went in with the lightest color. And added just a little bit of the medium color just to some of the edges, just to deepen the color a little bit. Okay. So I did stamp these ahead just so that the intense black ink would have some time to dry. You don't want to stamp and then color instantaneously because the ink does just need a little bit of dry time. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the pale pink, just with the medium. And I didn't do a lot of shading on this, the ice cream part of the ice cream cone. Just because I did it two-tone, there's just not a ton of room, but you can add a little bit of shading if you want. I'm going to do the, like I said, the medium. And while it's still wet, I'm just going to add just a little bit of the dark just in on the one edge there. Okay, and then again, I'm going to do the ice cream in the orange, the second layer. Make sure you get the right color. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to take just a little bit in the medium shade, just right at the edge, just to deepen the colors. Okay, and then the blue popsicle, I just thought was super fun to just do a little bit of coloring just on the outer edges and leave the middle white. Okay, so I'm going to do the stick first, and I'm just adding a little bit of that lightest golden brown, and then just a tidge, that's a small amount, of the medium color. And then I just left these two pieces of the popsicle white, just for a nice little contrast. Okay, so I'm using the lightest shade of the ice blue. I'm just covering the whole popsicle parts that I want colored. And then I'm just going to run a little bit of the dark color down the middle of the popsicle. Okay, so we are all colored there. I'm going to go just with the medium and just do the middle part here while it's still wet, kind of around the edge there. Okay, so that is all the coloring I really did for these. So, but then you'll notice, like I said, they're all sparkly. So there's the snow cone and the ice cream cone, and then even my popsicles and my watermelon. So I took the diamond stickles and I colored my stamped and colored pieces. So you're going to want to do this and then set them aside to dry. The stickles does take some time to dry, so it's totally up to you. You could assemble your cards and then add the stickles, or you can do it at this point and then set them aside. So the diamond stickles is just white, and so I'm just squeezing the bottle, and I'm just gonna brush it on all the, move it basically, squeeze out some and move it onto all the spots that I want to sparkle. And I will just, so if I was doing this all at the same time, I would color all of my images, let them dry, and then move on to the next one. So you could see the difference. So here's no stickles and then stickles. It just gives them a nice little shine. And I thought this on the snow cone made it look so much like a snow cone. So again, I'm just squeezing a little bit out onto the spot that I want it and moving it around. It's not so cute. Okay, so then we have the ice cream cone, and I just did the ice cream part, not the cone part. And depending on how thick you put your stickles on is going to determine the amount of drying time that you need. Obviously, the more, it's like a gel with sparkle in it. So the more you obviously put on, the longer it's going to take to dry. Okay, so there's our ice cream cone, the one versus the other. So you can see. And then for the popsicle, I just did an outline around a very thin on the surface of the popsicle. So that's what I'm going to do this time too. So I'm just using it more like this in a line, like drawing on my popsicle instead of spreading it all over the whole thing. So there we go. I'll hold the popsicle up too. So the stickles are a super fun way just to add a little bit of sparkle at a very super reasonable price. Okay, so those are the way that this is the way that I colored my images for the Summer Vibes card making workshop. And like I said, totally pick whichever kind of way you want. So the next series of videos will be the assembly video. So I'm going to go and I'm going to color all my images and add my stickles, and then I will be back. This one's going to take a little bit longer, so I'm probably going to post the video tomorrow with as to assemble all the cards. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.